Please stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for your grace, your mercy, and your love for this community. Father, we look to you for the source of wisdom and direction, Lord. I pray for our commissioners, our city attorney, our city manager. You fill them with wisdom and discernment and insight for this evening. I pray for our city residents, Lord, that they would have a voice to speak and that they be heard. Let all things be done decently in order for your glory, and we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call.
Commissioner Jackson.
Here.
Commissioner Hutcherson.
Here.
Commissioner Tumulty.
Here.
Vice Mayor Williams. Mayor Capizzi.
Here.
All right, I guess you all realize Commissioner Williams isn't here. He's out at the Space Center working on the, I believe, the SLS wet dress rehearsal. And the mayor is out of town, but he's here by phone. You hear us, Mayor?
I sure do.
All right, awesome. All right, approval of the agenda, please.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All right, passes. Keith, did you hear that?
Yes, aye. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Special presentation, Ancient Order of Hibernian Proclamation. I'm Irish, by the way. Don't know if you know that, but Tumulty is Irish. I guess it was pronounced McTumult at one point while they were over there in Ireland. Anyhow, here it is. Whereas by 1776, nearly 300,000 Irish nationals had immigrated to the American colonies and played a crucial role in America's War of Independence. And whereas 5 signers of the Declaration of Independence were of Irish descent and 3 signers were Irish born. And whereas Irish Americans helped to fashion a system of government for our young nation, and whereas 22 presidents have proudly proclaimed their Irish American heritage. And whereas in 1792, Irish-born James Hoban provided the architectural plans for the White House and served as one of the supervising architects for the construction of the Capitol. Whereas Irish-born Commodore John Barry was recognized by the United States Congress in September of 2002 as the first flag officer of the United States Navy. And whereas in 1813, Captain Oliver Perry, an Irish-American, achieved a major naval victory in the Battle of Lake Erie. And whereas in 1942, the 5 Sullivan brothers made the ultimate sacrifice for democracy and freedom during the naval battle of Guadalcanal, and later had the destroyer USS Sullivan commissioned in their memory. And whereas the Irish first came to Spanish La Florida in the 1500s, first as missionaries and mercenary soldiers, and then as planners, traders, businessmen, doctors, and administrators. And whereas 3 of the Spanish governors of La Florida were actually Irish military officers, and whereas Father Richard Arthur, an Irish-born priest from Limerick, who was appointed a parish priest for St. Augustine in 1597, an eclectic judge of La Florida, established the first public school in America and opened it to both boys and girls of all races. And whereas Andrew Jackson, whose family came from County Antrim, served as Florida's military governor following its acquisition by the United States. And whereas Irish Americans, since America's inception, have provided and continue to provide leadership and service to this nation's political, business, and religious establishments. And whereas it is fitting and proper to celebrate the rich cultural heritage and the many valuable contributions of Irish Americans. Therefore, I, Tim Tumulty, Commissioner of the City of Cocoa Beach, Florida, do hereby proclaim March 2026 and Irish American Heritage Month in the City of Cocoa Beach. Wow. I believe that's the longest proclamation that we've ever had, 2 pages worth.
I'm glad you read that one.
Yeah. I was told that's why you didn't show up today. You didn't want to read that one. But,
Any excuse.
yeah, I know it. All right. Next, we're going to swear in the new chief. All right.
Okay, good evening, Mayor, Commission, City Attorney, family and friends. Okay, good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here on this meaningful day for our police department and for our community. I want to acknowledge first Chief Kewen's family and friends that are here in attendance, as well as his mom, Dixie Kewen, his wife, Jessica Kewen, and his father, Chris, and his stepmother, Marilyn, who are watching online. Serving as police chief has been one of the greatest honors of my career. I've had the privilege of working alongside these dedicated men and women who show up every day with courage, professionalism, and heart. To our officers, our civilian staff, our volunteers, and to this community, thank you for your trust and support throughout my tenure. Today marks a new chapter, and I could not be more honored to pass the leadership of this department to someone who has earned it through his integrity, his hard work, and his unwavering commitment to this community. Chief Chris Kewen not only grew up in Cocoa Beach, but he's a natural-born leader who understands what it means to be a servant. He has the experience, the judgment, and the character to guide this police department moving forward. Chris, I've watched you lead with calm, steady confidence. You listen, you learn, you make decisions rooted in fairness and respect. You've earned the trust of your peers, as you can see, the respect of this community, as you can see, and the confidence of our city leadership, as you can see. You are exactly the kind of leader this department deserves. As we move into a new era of leadership here at the police department, we do so knowing the department is in very capable hands. I know you will continue to strengthen our relationship with the community, support the men and women who serve, and uphold the values that define the agency and the city. To the officers and staff, I ask that you stand with him as you always have. Support him, challenge him, and continue to give this community your very best, as you always have. Chris, it is my honor to welcome you as the next Chief of Police at the City of Cocoa Beach Police Department. I have every confidence that you will lead with integrity, courage, and vision. This department and this community are very, very fortunate to have you as their chief. So congratulations. Okay, we're almost done. Thank you, everybody. Please, please, please sit down for 1 second. Okay, ask Karen, however you want to face. Yeah, it's good. Okay, so at this time, I would like to invite Chris and his wife Jessica to come forward. It is important that they stand with him here at this moment, as public service is never carried out alone. This commitment that he makes tonight is one that is shared by those who love and support him the most every day. Right? Okay. Chris, please raise your right hand. I, Chris Kewen,
I, Chris Kewen,
having been appointed
having been appointed
to the rank of Chief of Police,
to the rank of Chief of Police,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
and affirm
and affirm
that I will support,
that I will support,
defend,
defend,
and obey
and obey
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the State of Florida,
of the State of Florida,
and the rules and ordinances
and the rules and ordinances
of the City of Cocoa Beach,
of the City of Cocoa Beach,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. Please. If you want to say a few words, you're sure.
City Manager, thank you very much. City leadership, I appreciate you taking the time to have this presentation and your vote of confidence in me. The past 30 days have been a productive 30 days for me. For those of you who were not here 30 days ago, I promised the community to lead with humility, with strength, and to look out what's best for our residents, our tourists, and the overall vision of the city. I'm a product of the city. It's been very good to me. The people behind me are everything to me. My wife, I just want to thank. Being married to a law enforcement officer is a silent service, one that many don't get to experience, but it's a lot. So thank you. I would not be here without you. My mother, my dad, my stepmother are everything. There's members of the community, the Mills family mean everything to me. Your mentorship, thank you very much. I've known you 20 years, and it's kind of sad not seeing you around the police department. So we do miss you, and please come for lunch as much as possible. The men and women, this is my 10 minutes of fame, 5 minutes of fame, but the men and women that keep this city safe day in and day out are here. Their support staff lingered throughout, the other directors. It's a team effort, and this is the best city to work at. That's why I'm still here after 20 years. It is an absolute honor. So thank you for what you do day in and day out, and I promise to lead you and have empathy and humility, and thank you for this opportunity. Thanks.
We can do that. Let's do that. Oh. Thanks. We'll take pictures afterward. Okay. All right. Yeah, afterward, we'll take some pictures afterward. That'd be great. If you want to hang out for the whole meeting. It might be a short one. Who knows? Public comment. I don't have any. Oh, come on in.
It'll be a quick one.
Oh.
KP Thinker.
Oh, thank you.
Chris, as I'm the one of the few who can actually pronounce your last name, and it's Kuhn, not Kuhn. And in Germany, that stands for bravado. So lead with that. Bravery and bravado.
Nice. Oh, wow. Anyone else? All right. Staff reports.
Okay, staff reports. Good evening again. Friday, February 27th will be our next Movies in the Park night. The movie is Trolls, and that will play at 7 p.m. On the leisure services end, the pool liner installation is now complete. Can you guys hear me? Okay. We have started the refill process, which I think is completed, Fire Chief Grimes, and they got to get the chemicals right, but the process will continue over the next few days to ensure that it's all set right. And we have, as a city, ordered an extra day of street sweeping from our company due to all the dead foliage. We don't want it ended up in our sewers and eventually into the river, so we've done that one extra day for the residents as well. That's all I have.
Okay. Awesome. I've noticed that Waste Management's been around with clam trucks a little bit more often than they have in the past. I don't know if you've seen that or.
Yeah, I mean, they're super responsive if you do call them. They'll come for extra
We
pictures.
didn't call them. I
Yeah.
think that just saw them out there. Maybe somebody is, I guess. City Attorney,
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Commissioners?
Yeah, just a big shout out to the boys beach soccer team playing over in Lakeland area tonight for semifinal for state, so go Beach. I think the game's at 7, but we love the hometown teams we can support, so I would have been there tailgating, but I think we wouldn't have had a quorum without them, so go Beach.
I'll echo, excited to have them hopefully bring home the win for the state semifinals. Just really big achievement for them, so kudos. Want to also thank the city and the employees for hosting the Freedom 7 first graders who came in and got a chance here in City Hall to experience their city government, and I believe they helped to pick or voted on and did a mock election for the April movie, I believe. So it really fantastic. Hopefully some of them will make their way up here in a few years, but having folks from the city and residents be involved in city government and starting them young is really fantastic. So City Manager, thank you for having your team host that.
I guess I'll chime in.
Go ahead, Keith.
Yes, so congratulations, Chris. Well deserved. very excited to have you in that role, and happy for you and your family. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Yeah, Chris, I agree. I mean, grew up in Cocoa Beach. That's awesome. I don't know if that was a dream of yours when you were in high school. Maybe not. I don't know if it was. Kinda? Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. Yeah. And looking forward to working with you for next decade or so. Be great. I also want to mention the soccer team. They're not just in the semifinals of state. They got there by beating Lake Highland Prep a week and a half ago, the 15th ranked team in the country. And I believe tonight, the team they're playing tonight, I think is second ranked in the country. So if they bring a win home tonight, they play Saturday for the state championship. That'd be pretty awesome. We've got a lot of good stuff going on at the high school, sports and academics combined. So looking forward to watching all that. Anything else? Okay. Consent agenda.
Okay, this is the consent agenda. Item 1, approve the February 5, 2026 Commission meeting minutes, staff representative, City Clerk Department. Recommendation approved. Item 2, board appointment, fire pension, reappoint Michelle Flynn for a term to be completed April 2027. Fire pension, reappoint A.J. Anderson for a term to be completed May 2028. Police pension, reappoint Tommy Blair for a term to be completed April 2027. Recommendation approved.
Move to approve consent agenda as read.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 It's 4-0. New business.
Okay, this is item 1, approve ordinance 1709 on first reading, and ordinance of the City of Cocoa Beach, Florida relating to municipal impact fees, creating a new Article 13, impact fees in Chapter 2, administration of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Cocoa Beach, establishing police, fire, and public facility impact fees based on the 2026 Municipal Impact Fees Study prepared by Raftellus Financial Consultants, Inc., providing for findings, directing the provision of notice of impact fee rates, providing for conflicts, codification, severability, liberal construction, and an effective date. Staff Representative David Dickey, Development Services, recommendation approve on first reading. I do want to mention that there is a couple Scrivener errors. At one point, it says 2025. It should say 2026 in one of the whereas clauses. And in section 2-132, it says resolution instead of ordinances. Changes to the impact fee ordinance have to be done by ordinance and not by resolution. And I believe that Raftellus, a representative, is here.
I'll move to approve J1 with those corrections.
Second.
Excellent. Yeah, I would like to hear something about it. I mean, a lot of times we have items on the agenda, and it's a lot of legalese speak, or legal speak, and I'd like to hear kind of a summary in real terms of what's going on.
Good evening, Michelle Galvin with Raftellus. So I have a brief presentation to go over the impact fees study, our findings, our major assumptions and conclusions, and how these fees will compare to some nearby communities. So we were calculating impact fees for police, fire, and general government. The city does not currently have these municipal impact fees, so we developed the cost methodology by looking at historical investments, each of these departments, as well as future planned investments as it relates to growth specifically. By implementing impact fees...
Can you make it closer to your microphone?
Yes, sorry. By implementing the impact fee, the city will minimize the cost burden from falling on existing users, businesses, compared to being charged to new development so that they can typically pay their fair share. This study follows general statutory perimeters and accepted case law. So impact fees are one-time fees that are charged to new development to recover the cost of providing additional capital and capacity for new development. They don't pay for the renewal and replacement of existing assets. They don't pay for the ongoing operating and maintenance of each department, and they don't fund any corrections of level of service deficiencies. And so generally, it follows the national rational nexus test. So you have to prove that there is a need for these impact fees, that new development will receive a benefit from these impact fees, and that the fees collected will be proportionate to the demands placed on services. So to develop the impact fees, we took the total capital costs, which we calculated using existing investment and future investment, allocated that between residential and non-residential using generally accepted functional population assumptions, as well as US Census data. And then we divide those costs by functional population to get a fee per dwelling unit for residential, and then a fee per unit, like 1,000 square feet for non-residential. So we are recommending 4 non-residential land use classes. So we have a general, retail, commercial, an office institutional, a hotel motel, and then an industrial warehouse. So for the police impact fees, we considered $11.3 million of an existing investment into the police department. The majority of that is the recently completed police department complex for $9.1 million. And then we also considered the existing police fleet. And as this grows, they'll need to keep the level of service, so the number of officers. So we did consider $245,000 of additional police vehicle costs associated with growth. So those costs, we're calculating an impact fee of $1,080 for a single-family home per unit. And for the highest fee category is that retail commercial at $1,653 per 1,000 square feet. So fire, we considered an existing investment of about $4.6 million with the Fire Station 51 and existing apparatus. And from the capital improvement plan, the city has identified the need to rebuild Fire Station 50 and purchase a new frontline fire engine. So those costs were included in the fee calculation. So the fees are applied in the same way as police. So you're seeing the $1,034 single-family impact fee, and then the 4 non-residential land use classes and the multifamily fee. So for the general government fees, we considered about $10.1 million of the existing investment. A large part of that is the recently done City Hall, but we also consider the Public Works facility. So again, the fees are calculated on a similar basis. So you're getting a $946 fee for a new single-family home. And so on a combined basis, a single-family new development home would get an impact fee of $3,060 for police, fire, and general government. And if you compare these fees to nearby communities, one thing is the city is just going to have these 3 impact fees. The majority of other cities have parks impact fee, library impact fee, roads mobility impact fee. Even with these fees, you're going to be on the lower end compared to some communities. So we recommend implementing the calculated fees, which are based on the recent and those localized data. By implementing the impact fees, it keeps the city from putting cost burden onto existing residents for new development capacity. And if these fees are adopted, there will be a 90-day waiting period before they're effective. And that's all I have, but if you have any questions.
Excellent, thank you for that. It was very easy to follow the basis. So just so I'm clear, it would be an ownership change that triggered any current residents to incur these. Is that a true statement?
It would be a development. So if you sell a house, no impact fee will be paid. If you add an extension to your house, no impact fee will be paid. If a non-residential building, for some reason, gets turned into, say, a multifamily unit, the incremental charge of impact fees would then have to be paid, but it's only developments.
But if you do, like if a resident does an addition or knocks their house down and rebuilds their house, those would not incur?
No. Since the fee is charged on a per dwelling unit basis, if it's still one dwelling unit, there would be no change. If it, for some reason, switched to a duplex, the incremental cost of 2 multifamilies versus the 1 single family would be paid.
Okay.
Yeah, so the actual impact isn't too much in Cocoa Beach. We don't have a lot of property that's, under development or is going to be developed. It's already developed, for the most part. I mean, we have some, but not like Vieira and some of the other cities that are growing, so. But it's good that we have this, obviously. thank you for the presentation and clarifying it. Appreciate it. Yes,
Can I ask some questions when everybody's ready?
yeah, go ahead.
What is the difference between that proposed impact fee compared to what is our current impact fee prices?
So the city does not currently have police, fire, or general government impact fees, so these are new impact fees.
Do we currently have any impact fees at all? I mean, we must.
I believe you have water and wastewater impact fees. Just wastewater? Just wastewater impact
Nothing on
fees.
general fund.
So that'll be on top of our current impact fees. We're going to add these ones on top of the other ones.
Yes.
So I had asked this private. My concern is, okay, we have a few undeveloped lots or previously torn down, like for example the Stina House or the Drift on 520, the property on 9th Street, one by the church there, across from Kua, at the end of Surf Drive. What kind of impact, I asked if Dave Dickey could get me these numbers, what was the difference between the impact fees on the Drift property compared to now versus what we're going to charge them in the future? My main concern is I do not want to hinder improvement of vacant property by overcharging for impact fees. We're talking about over $3,000 more per $1,000 or 1,000 square feet. When you're talking about a project like the Drift with 221 units, you're talking about a huge impact and possibly a barrier to entry for a larger development.
Yeah, that's a very good question, Mayor, and thank you. And thank you for giving me a heads up so I could do a little bit of research. It's always nice to have some time. But yes, what I did is I went back and looked at a couple of projects. One was Drift, the other was the Stina project. Stina is the glass bank building that we've been talking about for a while. Let's look at the Stina first. Stina is roughly, for new construction on that, it's going to be about $25 million. If we look at applying these impact fees to the Stina project, it'll roughly be a little over $100,000. So when you look at $100,000 compared to the cost of construction of $25 million, you're talking about less than 0.5% will be the new cost for a typical, well, for that project. Also with homes, now as we've talked about, there will be no additional impact fees paid for single-family homes. They get credits. But let's just say there, for some reason, that a new home's coming in. We have a greenfield site, it's an infill project, and it's a brand new home, was never one there before. So they will be paying impact fees in that situation. I went and pulled the last 3 homes, the value, construction value that was been built in the city. One was $785,000, another was $667,000, and that was 6 townhouses, and the other was $850,000. Now remember, this is just the construction of the structure. It does not include the land value. So we've got the construction in the city of Cocoa Beach is pretty strong as far as values go. And we're talking about $3,000 for a new single-family home. So when you compare $3,000 versus the average of over, close to $700,000, again, we're less than 0.5% that we would be adding cost for a new single-family home. And also,
and Dave, real quick on that one, and what would our current impact fees be for that house that you're adding the $3,000 onto?
0.
She said for water, I think water and sewer or something.
Oh, I'm sorry. What is the current impact fee for the?
Yes.
I don't know. I think it's around. Is Morgan here? Do you know what the connection fees are for water? I don't deal with that, Mayor. I apologize. I don't know. We can get that answer for you before the second reading.
I don't think it's more than $200.
Yeah. So the connection.
Okay.
Their connection fees are pretty low.
Less than that.
Gotcha.
And I would like to make just a couple of quick points. This is really an opportunity for this city to place the cost of new construction, providing city services on the folks who are building. Right now, all of our residents and our property owners pay for that increment of cost to serve a new project. So we're transferring that cost to the folks who are getting the most benefit. And I think that's an important point to be made.
Yeah, Dave, I want to reinforce that. This is not that these costs don't exist. These costs exist, and they're being paid by residents now. I think what the study has done is get us a sound and legal basis for making sure we understand what those costs are and appropriately allocating them. And while I appreciate that we don't want to push away businesses that want to come and do excellent work here, it cannot be coming out of the pocketbooks of our residents.
Yeah,
So Dave, thank you for looking at that.
Yeah, totally agree. And also, one thing to keep in mind too is we have a magnificent city. People want to come to Cocoa Beach, both residential and commercial. And so, although we don't want to create barriers of entry, we have to recognize that we have a great city and people want to come here. And less than 1/2% is not overly burdensome. I'll just put it that way.
So, real quick, Dave, were you able to get me the difference in cost from our current impact fees for the drift compared to what the new impact fees would have been or would be?
It's going to roughly be the same as the Stina project. It's going to, as far
Because we're
as,
talking about he said for every thousand square feet, you're talking about an extra $3,064. Their units are going to be around 1,500 square feet and 221 units.
they're going to be roughly that, and it's going
So
to be
300,000.
Yeah, it's going to be more of a multifamily project. So if you look up at the table, rather than $3,060 a unit, it's going to be $2,144 per unit. So we just need to times that times 200 and I think it's 220. And then we would look at the two the restaurant out parcels. There's two of them. Right now, we don't know what the square footage is going to be, so it's kind of hard for me to project what those costs. That's why I really didn't kind of drill down too heavily on that. But I think the point I was trying to make, Mayor, is that the added cost for these impact fees is pretty minor. I don't think that, I think the strong market in Cocoa Beach is going to power right through the additional 1/2%.
So, just real quick, so the drift now we're talking $2,200 per unit extra.
Yes.
So they're going to have to expect to spend another $450, somewhere $500,000 more that they weren't expecting to pay.
Yes, but again, if Stina is worth $25 million, the Drift project is going to be probably closer to $75 to $100 million. So when we look at that, 400,000 is a pretty small number when we're looking at between 75 and 100 million.
And more importantly, that is 400,000 that should not be paid by residents.
Correct.
Mr. Mayor, anything else?
I'm a little apprehensive just because, I mean, they do pay property tax like everyone else. They will be paying expensive property taxes once it's built out. So they will be paying just like the rest of the residents. Not to say that, I'm trying to help, larger businesses that have lots of money. I'm just, my main concern is I just want to make sure that, and we don't have very many, but, at least 5 unimproved parcels that I really would like to see improved because they're just weed lots right now. And I just want to make sure that we're not going to deter people from investing in our city. So that's just my main concern. But I see what you guys are saying, and I know that, obviously we want to have a burden on the residents.
Right. That's a very good point. And, I think, we've clarified that. Do you have anything else?
Going to the comparison real quick. So one thing we have noticed across the state is even these cities that have had some of the most significant impact fees across the state, like St. Cloud, Palm Coast, I don't believe they're on here, but Claremont, they have some of the highest impact fees in the state, but that has not slowed growth down at all. And providing these services to people stays an attractive draw for new development. So there is obviously a payoff there, but it has not, we haven't really seen in the trends that slowing growth down as much.
Can you elaborate on the other impact fees? That seems like a ridiculous amount of money for impact fees.
Yes, so the most typical impact fee that the city is not considering right now, but most of them have, are parks impact fees. Those are usually in the $1,000 to $3,000 per single-family unit. And a lot of this also is the road and mobility impact fees. So St. Cloud just adopted a $14,000 road impact fee. And with that, the development that wants to be there is still there. But there are multiple different municipal impact fees that can be applied based on the city needs.
So some of these cities are actually expanding, and so they've got a lot of infrastructure they have to pay for.
Yes.
So I can see how that'd be a thing. It'd be like Viera charging an extra 10 grand per lot.
Can I ask her one more question when you're done?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you know what Canaveral currently charges for impact fees and what Satellite, just because they're just neighboring, to see if we're on the spectrum?
Cape Canaveral has not updated their impact fees in about 20 years, I believe. They're currently doing a study, but because of recent impact fee statutes, they're not able to increase more than 50%. So they do have very low impact fees there. And I don't know Satellite Beach off the top of my head, but I think this area has not looked at impact fees in a while.
All right, what other areas in Brevard County have you looked at for impact fees that you can compare us with or compare with?
Yeah, I don't think you can see that.
So we have Titusville.
Titusville, Palm Bay.
Yes.
Palm Bay's $8,000, Titusville's $900. The only two Brevard.
Did you look or consider at something like a beach impact fee? Is that something that is done in terms of our beach rangers, things like that? Or is that rolled into just police department?
We haven't looked at that specifically because of the language in the Florida impact fee statute is very limited to facilities and vehicles. If the vehicle is part of like a police fleet, there is consideration if they do that patrol. But with that specific language and how it's defined in the statute, it would have to be a facility, which the beach is a little
We have
bigger.
like jet skis, we have side-by-sides, things like that that are part of beach patrol. Would that be? Oh, we've got an additional commissioner. Just wondering if you had looked at it, and if you had, then.
If it's a part of the normal police department, I don't know if we look specifically at like the police fleet. We were looking more at like sworn officers and their vehicles per officer.
Right. I believe we have Commissioner Williams on the line as well now, so he's joined the meeting. Skip,
Go ahead,
can you hear
Commissioner.
him?
Vice Mayor, can you hear me?
Skip, are you muted?
Commissioner, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
They can hear you.
Okay. Sorry I couldn't be there. I've been at work since 4 in the morning. I just ate dinner, and but this is an important subject. I'm concerned about projects that are already in the works, if they're going to be affected by this change, that may cause them to rethink whether they're going to follow through on their project or not. Especially big projects, just for instance, the one down on the old hospital property down on the entrance at 520. So would this affect them or any other existing projects, or is this for projects going forward in the future?
It'd be for $450,000 for them, Skip.
Yeah, I mean, those are all great questions, and I'm just going to go back to what percent of the overall project that this represents. It's less than 1/2 of 1%, and these big developers, they factor these costs into their pro formas as part of it's a cost of doing business, it's a cost of development in Florida. And it is it's before they pull, if we have a developer that is going to pull out of a project because of 0.5%, we may not have wanted that developer in the first place to come into the city.
Furthermore, I think we've seen with significantly higher impact fees in municipalities, the statement was made that it's not slowed growth any discernible way. So I think 0.5% and evidence from other areas where we've not seen slowed growth would be a hard argument to make that we're going to see anybody abandon a project they've already started.
Can I just make a point to that real quick? You're talking about 1.5%. Well, that's precisely what we've got going on right now with the interest rates, why they haven't pulled the trigger on either the Drift property or the Westgate property at the pier. 0.5% does make a difference when you're talking about money crunchers, guys. So I'm just putting it out there that I'm very concerned with putting this scale, even though it's 0.5% to us, it sounds like a little thing, and to a big conglomerate. I'm just saying, I know that we've been waiting for these projects to come on board, and the reason why they're not coming on board is because they're hoping that they can drop 0.5% or 1% of interest by waiting, a year.
Mr. Mayor, I think you're confusing the cost of it versus the compound interest they would be paying on a loan.
Yeah, and just as an FYI, both of those projects are moving forward. We've been in heavy discussions with both of those projects, so they've got green lighted, and they'll be happening.
And they're aware of the impact fees.
Pardon?
They're aware of these potentially new impact fees.
I don't believe they are.
I don't know. I haven't specifically.
The interest is every year they have that.
Right, we're compound interest versus single price of an instance.
I mean,
Those are
I
different.
get the mayor's perspective, though. In theory, some of these should be, that should be built into their tax rate, right? We should have these factored in. So I'm kind of on the fence on this one, but
So I'll
I get the
go,
one-time capital, it takes the capital burden off of the residents. We still have the operational cost of the city that is coming from their ad valorem tax.
but I'll go back to,
Huge boost.
if there's a
Feels
cost
like double
that's
dipping.
being paid by residents
Yeah.
for a business to come in and operate here, we are not doing our job as commissioners if we're allowing residents to pay that business's way.
It
Period.
just feels like double dipping to me, I'm sorry.
No, so these impact fees are for capital investments for the city, whether it's structural or vehicular fees that we're paying. The fees that the residents pay through taxes are basically our operational fees. And our capital, because we don't have impact fees. So that's, something we should have had 100 years ago. When we started the project, I don't know if they had impact fees 100 years ago, I don't know, or when that all started. But, yeah, of course. So I understand it, I'm for it, and we have any more discussion?
Yeah, I want to say one note so you guys are aware. One of the concerns initially I had was the data points we use to justify the cost, we're not necessarily beholden to those. They're reasonable now, we can change them. My concern primarily was the fire station and being 5 million. We can lower that cost as we get into it. Just because we've started collecting impact fees built on that being 5 million, it was reasonable what we do now. So we do have some, I don't think we're painted into a corner. But I think there has been some concerns about that being overpriced. We're gonna take on a bunch of debt for that, but, so that's not painting, this decision won't paint us in the corner,
Right, and that,
having to expend those capital costs.
I think part of, if I'm understanding your presentation correctly, I think part of what we're looking at is essentially a legal basis, right? We can't make a profit as a city. And so ensuring that there is due diligence done to assess and understand what can we expect those costs to be? And they've got to draw from the numbers we have. They got to draw from the estimates we have. But I agree with you, Commissioner. I don't think that them using that price in their estimates means we have to go then spend that much on that capital project. I think that's a good point.
Right, and I don't think it's within.
Follow-up?
Go ahead, Skip.
Okay, so I'm just, anybody that has a current development order I think should be exempt from this, because when they planned their project and they knew what the impact fees were and they did all their stuff and they got all their financing together, they didn't know about this. So I want to offer an amendment that says anybody with an existing development order is exempt from this. And, you know, I agree we should have done this 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or whatever. But, you know, here we are now, and we're trying to burden people that already have a development order, already have a project plan, already have their financing in place, and we want to now further burden them with something. And I understand what Dave said, that if they can't afford an extra 0.5% or percent impact fee, then maybe they shouldn't be building in Cocoa Beach. I don't agree with that. So I'd like to offer an amendment, and I'm looking for a second, that says that anybody that has an existing development order in the city of Cocoa Beach at this point in time would be exempt from this. And I'd look for Becky to tell me if that's something we can put in place.
Okay, the most common development order is a building permit. These impact fees that are being adopted on first reading tonight would not go into effect until 90 days after the advertisement of the, nope, not the second reading, it's the advertisement, and we advertised it early.
Yes.
And I don't remember when the advertisement was, but by statute, it's 90 days after you advertise it. And also, it does not become due until you pull, there are a series of building permit that you pull at different times if it's a large project. It does not get assessed until you pull a building permit, and then it's based upon that building permit. For a house, it would be, you know, typically you'd only pull one building permit, but for a large structure, you might pull a building permit for a parking garage versus, you know, paving the parking area or something like that. And so if you have it worded that if you have pulled a development permit, or if there's a development order, because if you rezone property, that is a development order. So, you know, I'm concerned that it could go, you know, somebody who rezoned the property 5 years ago, but hasn't done anything with it yet, there's a development order on that property. So we need to tweak the language of it in some
I'm further
way.
concerned that I think what we're saying here is effectively,
We have development orders for certain projects already in place. And that is a true statement that says you can build this project back to, for instance, the project down at the 520 entrance. They have a development order in place that says that they can build up to 28 units per acre versus the regular residential, which is passed by the commission. So that development order is in place. So my amendment request is anybody that has a current development order already to the point of a development order in place would be exempt from this new impact fee.
I think that's how the ordinance is worded.
Yeah,
If you look at page 2 of 4 at the top, on paragraph 2, it says, "All impact fees shall be paid by certified funds at the time of issuance of a building permit."
Yeah.
So if a project, example Weston, we've issued a building permit and they're under construction, they're not going to be subject to this.
Okay, and I think what you're thinking of is a development agreement as opposed to a development order, because when you rezone property, that's a development order. But we do have development agreements for these projects, and we would look, some of them may say that they would pay the impact fees that were current at the time of pulling the building permit. I frequently put that in development agreements, and there's usually not much pushback on that. So I think we would need to look at each individual development agreement to see how we dealt with it.
So I got to say, I'm thoroughly opposed to this, because when reworded, what we're saying is, anybody who already is underway, the residents are going to pay that fee for them. We're going to grandfather them in. That doesn't make sense to me.
We're saying there may be a clause in there specific.
There may very well be clauses, and I can get all the development agreements that are outstanding right now.
So I think there's three cases, the west, and these would not apply to, correct? The Stina House and the Drift House, the other two talking points I think I've heard, it sounds like unless they have that special clause in their contract, these would apply for those two projects.
We haven't issued BPs for those projects.
Okay.
I mean, for example, Westgate.
Yeah.
We approved the DA, we approved everything for Westgate. Well, we have not issued a building permit yet, but Westgate is they're rethinking their project. They're coming back through the entire process, and we're gonna be renegotiating a new DA. So I would imagine they would probably be subject to these fees. So it's gonna really be a case by case, depending on.
I think it will be case by case, depending upon what the development agreement says.
Yeah.
But I am very concerned with tying it to a development order, because any variance you get, any rezoning you get, there's a whole laundry list of all of those are development orders.
What about the 9th Street project? Would they be subject to it, or have they already started building permit, or where are they at?
I don't believe we've issued a building permit for that, Mayor.
Okay.
All right.
I'm not going to second just because I just don't think we should cherry pick. I think it needs to be across the board. Either I don't want to give anybody special exceptions. I want it to be fair across the board.
All right. So there's no second?
No second on the amendment.
What?
No on the amendment.
There's no second on the amendment?
No second.
That's
Wait,
what I'm saying.
can I say one more thing?
Sure.
So what I'm trying to say is, if we ever, I just want to figure out a way with Becky or whoever to exempt current projects that are already on the books and approved by the city commission, whether they have building permits or not, and have this only be applicable to new projects.
Yeah, and I don't think you got a second on that.
Yeah.
So I would call the,
So that's not a second. So, right. So
Well, we still have a comment, right?
Yeah, is there any more discussion? You guys?
I'm ready to
Right.
call it.
Yeah, public comment, please. Anyone want to speak? Go ahead, Rick.
Rick Anderson, Minutemen Causeway. I've seen so many things come before this commission, the pier redevelopment project, the Gateway project, and I lose track of the number of months or years that go by between the time that the city says, go ahead and do it, and ground actually gets broken on it. So, and there was a condo project somewhere near the church that we gave a variance for, and that just went belly up and nothing ever happened there, and the property's still sitting there vacant. So my point is, I think that it has to be applied across the board. I think that the ones that have not, and if the pier is gonna come back with a totally new project, why are we going to go back and grandfather them for something that we already approved? They said, we're not going to do it now, we want to do something different. Well, sorry, I mean, I think they should be subject to the fee.
Yeah, thank you. Very good point. Anyone else? Okay. With that being said, thank you, Rick. That's a great point. There are a lot of properties like that that have come to this commission in the last 5 years, and nothing's happened. 520, the hospital lot, that was 3 years ago. They were talking about it 7 or 8 years ago. Surf Drive, nothing's happened there. The Weston's rethinking their whole project. So I think we just go through. I want to take it the way it's read here. on the agenda, so.
Hey, can I say real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Keith.
I agree with you. The way it's read needs to be, I think that makes sense. That we can't give people special exceptions. We've done it in the past. I don't like doing that. I think we need to be fair. But that being said, you guys are right. We've had so many projects come across the books here, and then nobody's pulled the trigger. So I just want you guys to realize how sensitive financial funding and finances is for these projects, and that's the reason why they're not being executed upon. So for that reason, guys, I'm probably not going to vote yay on this, but I just wanted to put that out there just to think of. We want this growth, we want this stuff to happen so that we can get that tax income from them, because we will get great tax revenue from them once they build. I'm done. Thank you.
Your point is that if they've been stalled for 5 years, it's not necessarily because of the.
It has nothing to do with this.
1%, right. And the reality is, they come in, they cost the city. They consume city services, as do the visitors that come in. And so when we apply fees that are actual costs to the city and the residents pay for them, it's not right.
Okay, well, let's vote.
Do we already have a motion?
We have a motion and a second on this one. Yep.
Let me make another statement. When it comes back to you, Appendix X will consolidate all, right now, what's attached is the entire report. The Appendix X will put the actual dollar amounts, which will be no different from this, but it would be bulky to put the entire report as an appendix.
Okay.
Okay, Tim, for the record, I want to state my amendment and look for a second and have it fail, if so be it. My amendment is for existing development orders, which have other strings attached to them. The existing development order, this only apply to new development orders passed through the system. Look for a second.
Skip, you're not going to get it, so we're going to move forward with this vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Nay.
All right, passes 3-2. Number 2.
Okay, this is new business item 2, approve the agreements relating to Gulf Muck Capping Project, contract with J.F. Brennan Company, Inc., in the amount of $33,499,900. Sorrel Agreement 2168, Amendment 4. Assign the contract over to Brevard County Natural Resources for the project administration. Staff Representative Brad Calzo, Public Works Water Reclamation Director, and recommendation approve.
Move to approve J2 is read.
Second.
All right, awesome. Yeah, can we have
Morgan?
Morgan come on? Thank you.
Oh, Brad's on the.
Yeah, Brad's on vacation. We got Morgan here.
Yeah. Yeah, so I believe all this is funded, or it's all
Yeah, it's grant funded.
grant
So
funded.
basically, we're just having you guys approve the contract, and then we're sending it over to the county. So last time we explained that when we agreed to go into contract with them, so this is just agreeing to the contract and then sending it over to the county.
Any discussion? Skip or Keith?
No.
A public comment? All right, we're good. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, J3.
Okay, item 3, approve a 3-year renewal of the mutual aid agreement between the Brevard County Sheriff, Brevard County Law Enforcement Agencies, and the City of Cocoa Beach, authorizing the Chief of Police to sign the agreement. The renewal would expire on December 31st, 2029. Staff Representative Chris Kuhn, Police Chief, recommendation approve.
Move to approve J3 is read.
Second.
Discussion?
No.
You endorse it, City Manager?
Yep.
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. We've spoke about this. Any public comment? All right, let's vote. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Commissioner Williams? All right, it's 4 and 1 abstaining. And that's it. We're adjourned.